guys, Kyle with Dirt Bike Channel. We're back out at Razorback Ridge, and we're going to put that YZ450F through its paces up the Razorback Trail. First thing, we're going to take the KTM 350XC up the trail to get a baseline. Going to time it on the watch, and then after that, we'll take the Yamaha up the trail and see how it does. I'm pretty excited about this test. I know the Yamaha is a closed course race motocross bike versus the KTM is a closed course off-road racing bike, and so they're obviously set up a little bit different. They have different suspension, they have different gearing. One's a 4-stroke, one's a 2-stroke, so it should be a pretty fun comparison. This is not to say one bike is better than the other, it's just a fun comparison. So on the last Razorback video that we did, we had some people with their their panties in a wad a little bit, saying, oh well, you did this wrong and you did that wrong. Hey, these videos are just for fun. It's for me mostly just to see the different characteristics of the bikes that I own, you know. So on purpose, these bikes are completely different with completely different characteristics. That's why I have them. I don't want two bikes, you know, that basically do the same thing. So this should be just kind of a fun test for me to kind of get to know both bikes. I know the 300XC very well, and the XC really loves this trail. It's a technical trail. The video doesn't show the amount of the amount of elevation change that there is and the amount of rocks that you have to deal with. So it's a really fun trail, good technical trail to kind of test your mettle and to test the bike in these rocky, nasty conditions. Guys, it's pretty obvious that these bikes are very different, and that's part of the fun of doing this test. You know, one's a 2-stroke, one is a 4-stroke, one is very well suited to this type of terrain and this type of riding, and the other is made to go fast and go hard over, you know, huge jumps on a track. And that's part of the fun of doing these tests. It doesn't mean that one bike sucks and one bike is good. It just means that one bike is a little bit out of its element, and that's the whole reason I'm doing it, is just to show that a lot of times we're going out in the marketplace and we're buying these YZ450Fs and these KX450s and these CRF, you know, 450s and the RMs, these 4-stroke racing motocross bikes, and then we're trying to take them out on the trails and do like enduro style stuff. And yeah, you can make a lot of changes to them. You can put recluse clutches on them, you can put heavy flywheels on them, you can put 18-inch rear wheels, you can do all kinds of stuff. You can maybe even change the engine mapping a little bit and put a different sprocket on there, lower the gear ratios, or lower the overall gearing. There's a lot of different things that you can do to your motocross bike to make it better suited and to turn it into more of an enduro or an enduro cross bike. But there's a lot of things that you have to do. Wouldn't it be nice if you could just have an off-road racing bike, an enduro bike that's basically set up how you need it straight from the factory? And that's one of the reasons why I'm riding the 2-strokes that I'm riding. Obviously, we're going to have to ride the 4-stroke a little bit differently. We're going to have to take more clutch into these different areas. We're going to have to stay more on the throttle to make sure that we don't stall the bike. But that's all just part of the fun, and we'll see how much fun we can have. I may post a couple of different videos. There will be this video showing the summary and kind of the results of what happened, and then there will be 1 or 2 other videos of just showing the bikes going up the trail. Maybe I'll just do the YZ, since we've already seen the XC going up the trail. So anyway, look for some follow-up videos with the unedited raw edits of these bikes going up the trail. Stop. 4 minutes, 52 seconds. Boom! That was a good run, and I even had a really rocky start. I think I could have shaved 4 or 5 seconds off that thing, because I should have warmed up, because I was really all over the place on that first third of the trail. But 4:52, that's a new record.
Oh, shit. The hardest part. Oh, shoot! Things just geared too high. Whoa! 607. Woo! But that was a lot slower because of two different stalls. Whoa. And that beat me up, getting up that sucker. That first one was just a washout, just that front tire just washed out. It's just a heavier bike to hang on to, and when you're up on that loose rock, that front tire just went boom right out from under me. And yeah, this thing is a little bit more, you know, harder to handle on this gnarly stuff. That rear tire was just flying all over the place. I know you couldn't see that in the video, but this 19-inch wheel MX-51, not a real great off-road tire. That thing was all over the place. The front forks weren't bad. I softened these up pretty much as they can go on these forks, and they weren't bad, but not good enough for that to avoid that washout. Now a lot of that is on the rider, so but hey, I can ride the 300s and pound up this stuff without killing it.
Time for some off-the-cuff post Razorback thoughts. Obviously it's a lot easier to ride the two-stroke 300 up this hill. I've done it a number of times with three different two-stroke bikes and been able to just blast up the thing. I've definitely struggled a little bit more on the four-strokes because they just don't like to stay running as easily. I may edit out in the footage, but right over here at the beginning of the trail, first time on the 450, I stalled it within 100 yards up the thing, and then I spun around, restarted it, and went again.
Whoa! Didn't make it very far. Let's try that again.
The 450 is just heavy. It's just, it wants to go straight. It feels heavy. You can't kind of maneuver it around underneath you and you know, be really nimble with that bike light and nimble underneath you. It just wants to power and go straight. It's got a ton of power, but power is not the problem. Sometimes on these technical things, what you need is finesse and a light feel, and that's something that the 450 lacks. Once I got out into the open spaces where I could open it up a little bit more, then it felt phenomenal and it was great. But on this tight switchback stuff in this type of terrain with loose rocks and lots of tight little twists and everything, man, it was a lot of work. A lot of work to try to get that bike to go, you know, where I wanted it to go. So it's a lot of fun to ride, but it was definitely out of its element. When I go to do any little jumps and things, man, that 450 feels amazing, and it's really, really well balanced when you're going, you know, around corners and off jumps. But when you're just trying to, boom, maneuver through things on these switchbacks and places where you have to have your tire just in the exact right spot and you got to be feathering the clutch. It's a handful. The other thing is because the gearing is so high, even in first gear, man, you've got to really be careful on the gas and be careful on the clutch, otherwise you'll stall it, as evidenced here today. And it wasn't even like just some nasty obstacle. It was just trying to keep the bike going in a section where that first gear is really, really tall. So a lot of fun, and obviously it took me 6 minutes 7 seconds, and a lot of that was because of a boom. I washed the front tire out at one point, and then just because it's just harder to ride. And then I also had another stall, you know, so it was a minute slower. Could I shave off a full minute by not stalling it at all? Maybe. We'll have to check on the tape. As with everything else we do on Dirt Bike Channel, you gotta have all the right safety equipment. You gotta make sure you have socks. That's very important for your safety. If you can't find socks, then at least get a good helmet. For me, mostly to see the different characteristics. It's for me mostly just to see the different. And let's have some good boots. Better have that. So, very important to have your sunglasses off when you put that jersey on. There you have it. Through the magic of film editing, I was able to get dressed in a fraction of a second. Amazing. Frame check, sound check, light check.